Page 16, Little Brown Jug. One flat, we're in the key of F major. Make sure you can do the F major scale one octave up and down. I have a scale video on it. Just go do that and follow the instructions in the video on what I'm, because I do accents and wrist, work on the wrists and stuff. It's all there. 4/4 time, so we're counting to 4, or there's 4 beats in a measure. Now we're counting quarter notes, okay. We have a half beat pickup at the beginning, so we're coming in on the and of 4. Well, that means there should be another measure somewhere with 3.5 counts in it, because it's got to work out where everything's got 4 beats in it. If you look at the bottom of page 17, the last measure, that has 3.5 counts. Because there's 2 quarter notes, that's 2 counts. And the dotted quarter note is a count and a half, and you add them together, it's 3.5. Use a calculator if you need, it's okay. I'm going to start with the right hand. I'm going to play everything connected right now. And the fingering in the book is fine. You can use it, no problem. But if you happen to have big hands and fat fingers and it doesn't fit up in this area in between the black keys real well, then I have some suggestions you can try. So at the beginning, you're starting with 3rd finger. It puts you in this position. Remember, there's a B flat in the key signature, so it's here. So it's 4 and 1, 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4, and they want 2nd finger. This sets you up for coming for the rest of the line actually here. However, if you got big hands, this doesn't work. So what you can do, if you'd rather, is just stay here for the 2nd full measure rather than coming up here. Just stay here and use 3rd finger. And then 3rd finger, and you can just stay there with 2. Now here you need to come up for 1 beat. And I recommend, if you can, whether you have small hands or not, here, this is the last measure, the first line here, I recommend a 5/4/5 rather than a 5/5/5. This is used a lot in piano, and if you can start sort of getting used to it now, it will help you later on. This is a more advanced fingering. Now, I don't know if you're really ready for that yet, but I keep pushing you. I like to push people, so let's do that. So it's a 1/5, then a 1/4, and then a 1/5. Going on, back down. 2nd line, same as the first almost, until you get to the end. You're here. And I do a 1/4 on the end. So that's what I'm after. Page 17, you just come up here. And I don't like using the same finger twice in a row like that. Ugh. Doesn't matter if how big your hands are. I just don't like doing that. You have to sometimes, but no. Just cross over, 2nd finger. And you can stay here, and then if you want, if you have big hands, you can do a 2/3 for the half note. And anywhere else in this piece, you get the same thing. You can do it the same fingering, or use the fingering in the book, whichever. But then go on. This is the same as the end of the first line on page 16. Third line down, 1 and 2 and, 1 and 2 and. Now, for the half note, I'd still do a 2/3. You're kind of stuck with for 1/8 note, but you're only there for a moment. No, and then the rest of the song is similar. Left hand broken chords. You're down here in the F chord, 4 chord, 8th notes, 3 and 4 and. So if you can do the scale, this kind of thing you can do, because it's part of a scale and you're used to it. If you don't do the scale, you struggle. You'll struggle trying to make it even and controlled. Blech. Just do the scale. And for the most part, that's the left hand. Put the heads together. 4 and 1. See, the 8th note comes in between. Now Now when you first put the hands together, again, you can hesitate all you need to. You go as slow as you need to. All you're trying to do is get the notes down in each hand at the same time when they're supposed to be, more or less. So again, you're here, and then here, and then here. Rest there in the last measure in the left hand here. You gotta come down here. I don't like that. You can use 2-5 for the half note if you want, and then you can come down. It's up to you. And then come down, second line. Again, you gotta rest in the left hand on the last measure at the second line. And then an eighth rest. Just enough time to come, you don't really have to move, you can reach up, but the point is we need to hear that rest. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Up on and only on and, it's just an eighth rest. Going on. Idea. Go down the third line. This is a tricky part. See, rest, so forth. Get the hands sort of working together, and then go back over those spots where you're hesitating, that the beat is having a problem. Work them out. You need a good steady beat. It can be slow. So forth all the way through, and then once you can do that, see, we can speed it up later. Add in the articulation. We got staccatos and accents. Otherwise, just connect it. These left hand, just connect these. But you see, you got staccato notes coming up. It's going to be a short staccato with wrist. As I said, I'm on the keys and I'm bouncing off each time, and I go back on the key again before I play the next note. I don't boom, boom, boom. No. You're on the keys and bounce off each time if you can. Go slow. Put them back on the keys before you play the next one. It takes a little time to get accustomed to that. I encourage you to do that though, really. I mean, if it were real fast, you can't do that. You got to do that, but that motion is a very little one. It's not meh. Then at the end of the first line in the left hand, the eighth notes, connect those to the next line. Here, so it's here. So forth. Top of page 17. Your accents. Now there's different ways of interpreting accents. On a piano, you basically play the accented note a little louder than normal. I haven't talked about dynamics yet, but just know you're going to play them a little louder than normal. But what people can do also is you can just slightly separate the notes. Just slightly. Just... It's an interpretation thing. Some people do, some people don't. Whether you do or don't, make sure you play them a little louder than normal though. A little louder. In this case, they're forte, it'll be fortissimo, very loud for those notes. And then regular. Third line down, it's accent on a... So... Whether you separate these or not is not so important. Again, it gets back to interpretation. It's whether you separate the accented note or not, but whether you do or not, still play it a little louder. And that's a staccato. And when you can get the articulation sort of under control, then add the dynamics. Now the dynamics apply to the melody. At the beginning, and whatever you think moderately loud is, you're going to crescendo up to loud at the end of the line. Right there. That's loud. Don't get loud until then. There's not a lot of difference between moderately loud and loud. So you're going to take it, and I suggest maybe you take it like 2 measures at a time. So for the first couple of measures or so, I'm staying pretty much the same. Back up a little bit. Up a little bit. So most of the crescendo is toward the end. And then come back down, do it again. Right there. And then 17, you're loud. With the accents, you're very loud. Now, come down to moderately soft and go back up. Up there. And those are sort of the dynamics. You get the idea. Get to know it well enough that you can feel these dynamics and have fun with it. Speed-wise, it says allegro. Allegro means fast. Well, it's your fast. It's like I say, I don't know what loud is, you decide what loud is. Well, I don't know what fast is. You have to decide what's fast for you, and that's the flow of the piece, it's not the beat. So it's a happy piece. It's a happy piece, but it has to be accurate. So you got to be able to play it. So don't go faster than what you can play it. And also it helps to find the trickiest part, the hardest part in the piece. How fast can you take that? That's how fast you take the piece. So on page 17 in the 3rd line down, this. How fast can you take that? However fast you can do that correctly, that's how fast you can go. So I have my fast, you have your fast, everybody's got their own fast, it's all wonderful, but this just that sort of thing. Don't copy me, please. You got to make it yours. If I played this 10 times, I play it different every time because I play by feel and it's whatever I feel at the time. And I'm constantly experimenting with interpretation because you need to do what the music tells you to do, but the music doesn't tell you everything. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can add. And these dynamics are actually suggestions. You can experiment with these dynamics. Maybe I start this out medium soft. I got more room to get louder if I do that. There's more room if I make more difference between the beginning and ending of a crescendo. I'd like to play this with you very, very slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do any dynamics, just notes and rhythms. I will do the staccatos and I'll try and do the accents. That's kind of hard, but I will. So I'm going to give us 1, 2, ready, go, and 1. Go and 1. Good luck with that. 1 and 2 and ready and go. or and. So